Hello everyone, Dr. Nathan Bryan here. Welcome back. This month's blog is on root canals, the root cause of many chronic diseases, including cancers. Have you ever wondered why so many people are living with chronic disease that's poorly managed, even when treated by the so-called best hospitals and doctors in the world? Moreover, millions of people are dying each year from these diseases. Diseases like lupus, ALS, multiple sclerosis, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and the list goes on. I spent more than 2 decades in basic science research trying to understand the mechanism of disease. Maybe you would be surprised to learn that we have cured every major disease in rats and mice. We can modify these animals genetically to make them develop certain diseases. We can administer drugs to make them develop chronic disease, and we can modify their diet to make them develop disease. In all of these cases, the scientific community has established a clear mechanism of action and then has developed personalized therapies to treat, cure, and prevent every major disease. So why does this not translate into human clinical medicine? Well, the answer is simple. Rats and mice are not humans. We can control every aspect about laboratory animals, from their sleep cycles to their diets and the water they drink. Furthermore, we only investigate a single disease state at a time in laboratory animals. We cannot control individual humans and their daily behaviors, so we have less of a controlled population. Many humans are dealing with multiple disorders that can express as many different diseases. So what do root canals have to do with chronic disease? As shown in the picture above, every tooth is connected to specific organs. This dates back to more than 5,000 years ago, so it has stood the test of time. It is how the ancient Chinese first begun to understand energy medicine. Without going into the detail of energy medicine, the human body is electric, and every organ, tissue, and cell must be supplied with voltage and current. Without voltage and current to cells, tissues, and organs, they become energy deficient. They fail, and that is the basis of chronic disease. If not corrected, the entire human organism loses voltage and current, and that is how we diagnose and declare death, the loss of electrical activity, either by EKG or EEG. Without electrical activity, there is loss of life. Think of your body as the battery in your phone. When your phone loses charge, a red light comes on and reminds you to charge it. If you don't charge it, it dies. However, for the phone, we can revive it simply by putting it on a charger. For humans, it's not that easy. When our red light comes on, i.e. we get symptoms like erectile dysfunction, autoimmune disease, high blood pressure, loss of memory, etc., then we must charge and figure out what is draining the voltage in our body. Teeth are the circuit breakers of the body's electrical system. Root canals disrupt the voltage supply and current throughout the body. Think of your teeth as circuit breakers for the entire electrical system. If you trip a breaker, then there's no flow of electricity. As shown in the picture above, electricity flows through energy meridians throughout the body and through individual teeth connected to all parts of the body. A root canal procedure removes the nerve root in that tooth, also removes the blood supply to that tooth. What you are left with is a dead tooth with no electrical activity and no blood supply. Consequently, you lose voltage supply to every organ on that same meridian as that tooth. Over time, those organs lose voltage, lose charge, become dysfunctional. Without sufficient voltage, the cells lose their cellular potential across the cell membrane. The cell potential goes from minus 25 millivolts to plus 30 millivolts. When the membrane potential changes, the mitochondria in the cell are no longer able to efficiently create energy for the cell. And this creates an environment for cancer to proliferate. Cancer cells tend to use fermentation for obtaining energy, even in aerobic conditions. This is called aerobic glycolysis. This phenomenon was later termed the Warburg effect after its discoverer, Otto Warburg, who won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1931. It is known that cancer cells only survive in a low voltage, low oxygen, low pH environment. If you can correct the voltage of the cell, maintain normal transmembrane potential of minus 25 millivolts, then cancer cells cannot and will not survive. Using an equation called the Nernst equation, we can determine the cell potential under any given circumstance. The Nernst equation is the link between cellular voltage and pH. Any pH below 7 means that the transmembrane potential is positive. Normal cellular potential is minus 25 millivolts, which equates to a pH of 7.4. Normal physiological pH. When cells lose voltage, the transmembrane potential becomes positive. pH decreases, cell begins to use fermentation as an energy source. And this is cancer. I describe this very complicated physical chemistry not with the expectation that you understand it, but rather to convince you that the science can relate and quantify these concepts empirically. This is not voodoo medicine. Recognize the cause of disease. I've consulted with dozens, if not hundreds, of cancer patients. I've never seen a cancer patient that did not have a dental infection. In fact, more than 90% have had root canals. The other 10% had cavitations or infections from the removal of certain teeth, primarily the wisdom teeth. These are always asymptomatic infections, so the patient does not realize they are living with an infection in the jawbone. X-rays will not detect the infection, and that's why we always use a CT scan of the jawbone, called a 3D cone beam. The CT scan will detect the radiolucency from the infection. That is why most dentists and doctors will not recognize the infections. For cancer, the treatment plan, no matter what type of cancer, is always surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation with no regards to the underlying cause of the cancer. How can you treat something that you fail to recognize the cause? That is why all cancer treatments fail. Some cancer treatment protocols put the cancer in temporary remission, but the cancer always comes back, and when it comes back, it is very aggressive metastatic disease. So pay attention to your voltage. And if your red light comes on, meaning you have symptoms of any kind, high blood pressure, autoimmune issues, loss of energy, rashes, or any other symptoms, don't ignore these symptoms. Instead, ask yourself if you may have an infection. Have you ever had a root canal? Did you have your wisdom teeth or any other teeth extracted? Instead of going to a physician specialist or an oncologist, if you have cancer, go see a really good biological dentist who has a 3D cone beam CT scan to visualize your jawbone. We cannot live and thrive with dead tissue in our body, and a root canal tooth is dead tissue. And recharge your body's battery. Get some voltage and recharge. You can do this by walking barefoot on the ground. Nitric oxide is an electron donor, so make sure your body has sufficient nitric oxide. However, electrons flow only with an electrical potential. If your body does not have enough voltage to maintain some electrical potential, then even nitric oxide will not save you. The most important question you can ask yourself if you are sick with any chronic condition is, what is draining my voltage? Once you recognize that and mitigate it, your body will heal itself. For more information on this subject, I recommend reading the book Healing is Voltage by my good friend Jerry Tennant and Cancer as a Metabolic Disease by Tom Seyfried. Thank you very much.